Good morning, goeiemorgen, and welcome to another 30 Minutes with Jan. We are live from Welcome Bay in Tauranga. My name is Jan Viljoen and I'm a financial advisor. I help people with insurance such as life cover, disability, as well as vehicle insurance and KiwiSaver. All our clients receive free wills. Sorry about that. This morning it's all about the election blues or the election babbelas, as I would love to call this. So if you are on my personal Facebook page, we are going to try and see if you drop any questions down there. We just get that up and running. This morning, just to give some feedback on what's happening in the future coming up, ladies morning, the 24th, the 14th of November, let me just get that right. The 14th of November, 80% has been sold out yet. So there's roughly about 20 tickets left. All my female clients, or if you are a partner of a client of mine, will get 50% discount. We will either repay you in the morning, or we will only let you pay 50% if we know you are a client. But this is not my brainchild, this is my wife's brainchild, and she's going to take that quite far, and I think this is the first of many to come. On that lovely morning, they're going to have a discussion with a few psychologists about coming to New Zealand and what to expect here and what to help you with, as well as a person that will help you eat a bit better. I know that eating is a bit of a problem for all of us, especially myself. So, and then I'll have a 15-minute slot there as well to have my input on the financial status of the country there. So, a quick one there. Election has come and gone. I would like to call this the election babbelas. This is what's left over, babbelas. That's the thing the next morning you have, a hangover for the English people. And it's the next morning you wake up and you think, oh, I'm never going to do this again. And I've got the idea this is what a lot of people in New Zealand is saying. We will never do this again. We've got 3 years more of Labour spending money that we don't really have. All right, but on the good news is, this weekend, Ben and Alida got residents, and yesterday Colin called me, they've got residents as well. So slowly but surely, the residences that are still outstanding, that are still out there, in the pool, or that has been drawn out of the pool, are getting some attention, and they are slowly but surely filtering through, and people are getting residence. The one problem is that the expression of interest have been closed for another 6 months. So we had a long chat with Vanita last week on that. So that video is still available on our YouTube channel as well. If there's any questions this morning, feel free to drop them down here somewhere. Let's see, there's one comment already. Somebody saying good morning. So good morning to you as well. Somebody says that the sound is not that well. Is the sound better now? Let's see. Just re-plug and plug out. Okay. New Zealand's officially in a recession. That means we have had 2 negative quarters. It's not always good news, that. But this is now what I'm trying, or my, how can I say, my voorspelling. If I take my crystal ball, I think we'll have a turnaround in December. Purely because it's a holiday, and purely because the fact that that a lot of people is going on holiday now, and they'll probably spend a few bucks more than what they would normally have spent. So the one problem we still are lagging tourism. We still don't have tourists. That is about 10% of our GDP, and that's a main thing. To make up that 10% above and beyond what the normal Kiwi will spend in its own country, that's going to take I would say that'll take a miracle to get that done. So somebody saying immigration is now processing residences from 01, 04, 2019. So they're basically 1 year and 6 months behind. All right, take this. 1 year and 6 months behind. New Zealand is a country where most of the stuff works very well, except immigration. Sadly about that. Tourism, losing tourism, the season for the boats, all the pleasure boats is happening now. So if you have booked a cruise somewhere on a pleasure boat, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And also that revenue generated out of that pleasure boats docking in the various harbors around New Zealand, that's also lost. To give you an idea, if two pleasure boats, and that has often happened, two pleasure boats dock at the same time in the Tauranga harbour, then you have about 10,000 people visiting places like as far as Rotorua. Some of them even go down to Hamilton Gardens. But Rotorua is a big one, but just in the Mount. Just in the Mount, you sometimes get about 5,000 people extra walking through there, buying weird stuff because they've got extra money. I mean, tourists are stupid people. They just go around, I love the t-shirt, take a $20 for that. That's how tourists operate. And we are losing that revenue. We don't have international students who bring in New Zealand 45 million a year. This comes from Bonita. So that's 45 million a year lost just out of the international students. There was some talk that they are going to bring back the PhD, I think, students and some of the very last year students, but I don't know if that has happened yet. So that's a bit of a hiccup or conundrum, as they say. To bring them back, we've got to put them into isolation or into quarantine, and it looks like that quarantine is also not being that well managed as well. I've seen that there were some community infections as well again down in Auckland, so I hope that was the last of those, because that could be a problem for everybody going forward. You can probably remember, not even a year ago, Jacinda locked us all up. With the most beautiful time in a year. Time when the ocean was flat and we could not go fishing. So that was my main concern that time. So on the flip side, Labour promised to build us 10,000 houses that they promised with the last election. They did 600. So we hope that they have taken the next 3 years to do the honourable thing and rebuild all of those extra houses that they have promised us. So, because the housing shortage in New Zealand is really, it's tight. It's really, really tight. And we haven't yet had a drop in house prices. I've been speaking to some of the estate agents around the country, some in Auckland, some down here. And these guys all say the same thing to me. They say, Jan, we've got buyers, we've got cash buyers, we've got approved buyers. We don't have houses. I think I spoke to about 8 of them, and all of them has got the same story. We do not have houses. So that's a big, big problem. There's a lot of buyers out there, but not enough stock. So if you have your house that you want to sell, choose wisely. The right agent will sell it within a week for you. Postgrad and PhD are only 250 students coming in from November onwards. This is from Bonita. So at least there's 250 students coming in. Remember, the students are more than just paying fees. They buy food. They buy. They need accommodation. They go out partying, and all this attributes to money that flows into the country, which is currently we do not have. So it's more than just the large amount of money lost on the fact that they aren't here. It's more than just that. So let's take a step back to the tourist side. It's tourist season now, and at this time of the year, from here onwards, about 10,000 people a day crossed our borders in the past. Now, what do we have? 2-3 planes coming in let's talk international, 2-3 planes coming in per week, which is not going to do anything good to this country tourist-wise. So keep in mind, if you have a tourist type of operation, that probably start looking at a few other venues or stuff to do different things. We are planning on a few things. We've got the Christmas on December Day. We've got the Christmas picnic in the park. I hope that's the right wording there. Picnic in the park. This year it's a Thai park. We've just chosen Thai Park. I know it's down in Welcome Bay. Last year we did it down at McLaren Falls, but this year's park or picnic in the park, we will be able to have a braai. So if you want to have a braai, bring your stuff along, and we'll do a nice braai on Christmas Day. I will still run all those ads as time goes on. I have started yesterday with that. On the flip side, the fishing is better. That's probably a good thing. So we're starting to take a few of our clients and our customers out there to get them fishing again. Something to look forward to. The season is here, and when we talk about the season is here, the water has warmed up to a point where it's about 17 degrees now, and that helps us a lot when you are out fishing. You actually need that hot water, or hotter water, I would say, about above 18 degrees for the snapper really to be up and running. Yesterday there was some orcas back in the harbour here in Tauranga, and guys have reported a lot of kingfish being caught in the harbour itself. So kingfish coming out at this stage is about 1.1 meter or longer, so it's quite big fish that are currently down here. Snapper being caught is few and far between. Every time we go out, we do about 3 to 5 snapper, which we normally would bring about 7 per person back. So we still way out of where we are supposed to be. On the other side, borders is not going to open anytime soon. Not before, I reckon, middle to end of 2021. A lot of reasons why, and without any vaccine. And I know New Zealand has bought a vaccine, or 1,500 or 1.5 million vaccines, if they ever should happen. So that has already been bought, but I cannot see that happening very soon, as that could be, I would say, the saving grace of this country. If the vaccine comes out, they will allow people to come in again. So let's keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why the borders is still closed and still closed for quite a while. Yep. A few other things is interesting facts. I spoke to a few people and they said, "Oh yeah, we voted for Jacinda." And I said, "So you voted for Labour?" I said, No, we voted for Jacinda." So a bit of a conundrum there that people, it looks like they don't know who they actually voted for at the end of the day. But they have won. Let's say they've won. They've made a landslide victory for themselves. Let's hope it's a landslide victory for this country as well, because we really desperately need good leadership at this moment. And we actually need a good leader who can stop spending money and start getting the country to invest in itself for the time period until our borders are open again. Once our borders are open, we will see that these tourists flocking in, that these businesses needs to be revived as well. So they'd probably be needing a small cash injection somewhere in the tourist sector as well, just to keep them afloat. It'll be sad just to have businesses closed down because of a lack of tourists, and it's not really their fault. It's like you're doing your best, getting your, let's say you're getting your PhD as a doctor, and you're the smart doctor, but they refuse to send you any patients. So basically just useless. I'm currently in talks with a guy that owns a big, how can I say that? I want to say a holiday farm down here in Tauranga. It's very much like the, I want to say Grand West, that type of pleasure parks, but it is a type of a pleasure park, very much water-based. And I am in talks with him to give us a big discount if we bring a lot of South Africans there. So within the next week or 2 weeks, we'll have a final answer from him, because I know it's also going a bit Brookskier down there, so struggling a bit because they don't have tourists. They also rely a lot on school children, so school children have been going there, but not as much as they really wanted to have that going there. Another comment: would be nice if we had a managed border to have people coming in. We can't survive on a closed border. We cannot survive on a closed border. I don't care who says what. We cannot do that, and this country cannot survive without tourists, and they cannot survive without immigrants. And I know that the right thing to do is to stop all immigration because we want to do Kiwis first. It's probably not a bad idea, but in the long run, we are starting to, or we will be starting to lag behind on the job market again, because there's not that large amount of qualified people down here. And those qualified people we've always brought in. I just hope somewhere along the line somebody can go back and say, let's bring in more qualified people. Let's allow these qualified people to come back in. And that's important. And if we don't get them back in, that could mean that this country falls behind. Big things like building fall behind roads. They're already behind roads. Yep. They're already behind roads. Roads in New Zealand take an extremely long time just to complete. I don't know why. Somebody, Martin's asking on the other side, the East Caravan's available. His son is wanting to immigrate. The East Caravan's available if you want to rent a caravan for immigration. I know about somebody else who actually rented a caravan and stayed in the caravan until his wife came over. That was for a period of something about 6 months or so. and it was actually quite dirt cheap. So just rented a caravan from the local caravan store or caravan rental place. There's quite a few. I think down in Mount Maunganui, there's about 3 of them that rents out caravans. These are a bit older, retro type of caravans, but it's livable if you are single or just 2 persons and want to do it cheap, or even while you are waiting to get accommodation or waiting to get for your container. That's the one big thing about South Africans. We are great people, but we love our houses, and we love to move into a house. And if your container is not here, you're moving into a house that's empty. I arrive at a lot of South Africans' houses, and they've got normally a very small table bought at the warehouse for cheap, and four chairs, or sometimes just 2 chairs. And they've got a small television, normally put on either milk crates or pallets. And then they've got blow-up mattresses for the rest of the family. They normally have 4 mugs if there are 4. They've got 4 spoons, 4 knives, 4 forks, and 4 plates. That's about the amount of stuff they do have in their houses. And this is not because they are stingy. This is because they are waiting for their container. So at current state, if they are waiting for the container, they sleep on the mattresses. And the problem with COVID was these containers wasn't coming through fast enough. So these people had to stay on their container or on their mattresses or blow up mattresses until whenever this happened and whenever the containers came through. It actually took about sometimes even 6 weeks longer during COVID to get your container out of quarantine or through MPI. I don't understand why that happened. It's more fact that everybody was not allowed to go back to work, and this also affected them in that sense. So let's see if there's any other questions here. Anybody got anything else that you want to talk about? There's one more. We are the only country with a closed border. Australia and Canada are open. This is also something that I was thinking about this week. What happens if you can't come to New Zealand? I do understand that you need to get out of South Africa. So I don't have any doubts to anybody. And I'm not one of those people who will say, stay in South Africa. It's important for me that if you want to leave, that you can leave. What if New Zealand borders is closed? What now? Where to now? I know Vanita can help you with Australian visas. She's got a colleague that does Canadian visas. So those two areas are still quite open, and those 2 areas are still available for people to go to. And I know Canada, not Canadians. I know the Canadians love the South Africans, and they are currently looking for tradespeople. So a lot of tradespeople that I know of have already gone to Canada, and these trades are one guy that I know, he's a tiler. He's gone to Canada. A few mechanics has gone to Canada. Don't get me wrong, New Zealand also need those. We just don't allow them in now. And we also need those trades, but we just don't allow them in now. As far as Australia, I'm not going to say anything about the Australian visas and stuff. Neither will I say anything about the Canadian or New Zealand visas. That is not my field of expertise. And what Australia is currently needing, I don't know. I currently don't have the faintest idea what trades or people will be needed in Australia. But I think if you are really looking for a job and a way out of South Africa, you can't get into New Zealand, get hold of Australia, get hold of Canada, look into those 2 countries. There is a way out of that. So what else did I have to talk about this morning? Not a lot more. What will happen after December? I don't know. I think December will be a positive month, or a positive month that will probably have that quarter turn positive. So that means we will have some growth at the end of December. And then let's hope that growth can continue forwards for the next 3 months as well. If the weather will be good, then I do believe that more boats will go out in the water. More people will come and try and see their own country. That's probably the only thing that is still left over to do in New Zealand, is that to pack up your bags and go and see your own country. We've got Karen Blau, who was previously with me on 30 Minutes with Jan. They are currently touring the north side of the North Island in a camper van. So camper vans are still cheap out there. These companies want you to have a camper van at quite a reasonable price, and you can live in these camper vans. You can actually take these camper vans nearly everywhere. And if you want to stay over in a place like a resort type or caravan park, You guys from South Africa likes the caravan parks and don't want to do freedom camping, I'll tell you now what that is. There's a lot of caravan parks throughout New Zealand. We've got what we call the top 10 here. They are basically everywhere. You get a little a card that you buy from them for $40 or something like that, and that gives you discount or even more discount on the top 10 site. So keep that in mind if you want to travel through New Zealand and you want to stay in a caravan park. But on the flip side, we have what we call freedom camping. That is a dedicated spot. Normally, you can see they've got these spots marked out with bright stripes, and they've got a little board saying they're freedom camping between this hours and that hours. And you can just drive in there, and your vehicle must be self-contained. It must be a camper van or caravan that's self-contained. It's got a little sticker on the back. Once you get that, you can park there. Those vehicles must have toilets and showers and so on board, and you can park there for a period, I think, for 3 days. And then you move over to the new freedom camping site. Now, even in Tauranga, we've got a heap of them. Down in Welcome Bay, we've got 2 sites. Sulphur Point's got about 4 sites. Papamoa's got a few sites, which is normally fully, I won't say booked because you can't book on these sites. You just go there first come, first serve. So if you pack up your camper van tonight to go to Pack and Save, by the time you get back, there could probably be somebody else in your place there, and you have to find a new spot to stop for the night. The only asking, is it a good time to buy a business not in the tourism industry? I've been sitting down with my one friend on buying a business, and he's actually looking at buying a business. And at the current stage, he hasn't bought a business yet because the price that they want to charge for him for this specific business is still a bit too high. Is it a good time to buy a business? I would say yes. Really, it's a good time to buy a business, or perhaps just hang on for another month or 2 months just to see where it's going. What in the tourism industry, I won't buy currently, not at all. I will only start buying business in the tourism industry if I have the dates that the borders open. Except if it's something more local type of tourist, like what's local type of tourist that's not. Well, let me say, if it's a tourist type of industry that does not involve foreign visitors, that you can buy, because the tourists in New Zealand will always be the same tourists in New Zealand. So, good time to buy business, probably yes, within the next 2 months, even more, bigger yeses from me. Just make sure what you buy. There's a lot of, I would say, bad business out there as well. So keep that in mind. What you see is what you get at the end of the day, and don't overpay. Except if you can do it cheaper. Advertising doesn't cost that much, and in New Zealand, there's a lot of business gets done by the fact that who you know, not who you are. It's who you know. So if you know the guys that can send you work or to your business, you're probably way better off than the person buying a massive business and doesn't have any work coming in. So, any news on the partnership visas? I'm not going to say anything about that this morning. It's probably a better time to invest than to buy a business. Buying a business for me is also a type of investment. Let's be quite frank about that, because that's where you take your money, you put it into something, and you work on that something for a period of time, and then hopefully later on in life you can work. You can step away, and that thing can just continue going. Thus being the business. But it's also risky. To invest, I would currently say in this stage, not a bad time to invest. Not a bad time at all to invest if you are in the right investments. Some of the investments are still very, very quiet. I've got some investments in the petrol companies. They've dropped by another 20% over the period of time. Quite the big reason behind that is no planes are flying, so they don't sell bulk petrol. Yep, probably you could probably sell out of the petrol companies, but I still believe if it has fallen 20%, I've bought into after the 20% fall. I still believe it can go back another 20%, and that's growth. So that's where the growth will be. The only one to asking is there growth in the Bay of Plenty. Bay of Plenty is really crazy, especially Tauranga area. We do not have enough houses for the people here. This area is bursting out of the seams. So if you have a legit business that you want to buy here, I would say it's a good investment, just depending on what type of business you want to buy. Now, only if you want to discuss that further with me, feel free to email me or to WhatsApp me or to send me a Facebook Messenger. So questions here coming in. What will America elections mean for New Zealand? One thing with America is whenever America gets, or whenever America sneezes, the rest of the world gets heavy coughs or heavy colds. So that's always a thing. Whatever happens in America has got a big spillover all over the world. So depending probably on who wins, if Trump wins, I believe stuff will go on as normal. Trump has really been out there to make America great again, thus to grow their economy. If their economy grows, we will piggyback on that. If Biden should win, I've never ever worried to go and look at what he stands for. So that I can't tell you. Every country is looking for investors to boost the economy. That is a fact. So investors are welcome in any country. I just think in New Zealand they are less welcome as the borders are closed and they struggle to get in. So investor needs to get in before they need to get in. Otherwise, they can't invest. That's as easy as that. To those people thinking of buying business, don't buy a business from South Africa. If you aren't here and you can't see the business here, and you can't go through the books while you are here, do not do that. I know about quite a few South Africans who's really burnt their fingers doing it this way. Kiwis will probably tell you anything on a bad business just to get it swung around. And then something that I saw on the Kiwi side, they put a lot of money into their name. Now, it's a good thing if your business has got a good name, but it's a bad thing if your business hasn't got a real name. And remember, any business operating under 3 years, don't even think of paying anything for goodwill there. It's just a long shot. It's just a long shot. You probably can buy out the tools and stuff if you want to buy something that's got tools in there, buy out the tools at cost. But I won't pay for any business name that is what's operating less than 3 years. They haven't got 3 years books, financials to go through. So that's that. All right, guys and girls, it looks to me like we've run out of time or nearly run out of time. Keep watch. We are doing a few things in the fishing space, hopefully within the next week or so. This weekend, the weather looks really bad out there, so don't take chances. And just my word of warning, I had had a bit of a discussion with the Sea Rescue on Tuesday morning. We had a bit of a discussion with the Sea Rescue on Tuesday morning. These guys are quite busy. They get called out all the time. Sea Rescue in Tauranga is now trying to buy a new boat for about $2.3 million. That's just to get your asses out of the ocean if you screw up. So join them before going out. Really, join them before going out. If you need to be rescued, if anything goes wrong with your boat, and they come and rescue you, and you are a member of the Sea Rescue, they don't charge you anything. Otherwise, you will get charged, and you will have to pay a hefty fee just to get their boat out there. And remember, be safe on the water, guys. So we are playing around with a few things in the water, in the fishing space. Hopefully, launching that within the next week or two. And then once again, the ladies' morning on the 14th of November, only 20 seats left. Light lines get half price. I'll subsidize a bit of that. So that's that. All right, guys and girls, that's me. Thanks for listening to me. Another 30 minutes with Jan. And enjoy your mornings. And to the South Africans, sleep safe and sleep tight.